For part two of this training video, we're going to review some of Appendix L, the online testing highlights and script. So, the first page here just reviews some of the information we went over on the slides, talking about the step by step directions and the oral script, troubleshooting, accommodations, and key information that TAs have to have on test day. So everyone needs to have this printed out. It's in the test administration manual. Right now, I'm on page 87 and I'm in Appendix L. So I'm going to go ahead and go to page 88. But I'm going to just, give you a couple of notes here without reading this line for line. So basically, you need to make sure you prepare the test room before testing and cover any charts, maps, any directions on, the writing process and that type of thing. It needs to be covered, or that's a violation. That's a breach. And make sure to close all open applications on students' Chromebooks, the devices that they will be using to take the tests, to launch the secure browser. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is establish a test session. And like I said, this is included within the online testing highlights and script. This is the highlights part. To test online, students must sign into an active test session and be approved for testing by the test administrator. Test administrators can establish test sessions only on test day, immediately before students begin testing. Immediately means, within 20 minutes. There's a 20-minute rule before it times out. So it shows some little images over here, and my mouse is right by the TA interface icon that's on the Tide portal. Okay, so that is how you get in. It is saying here, do not go on to the practice site. I did not think anyone would do that, but we'll go on down to 2B. After logging in, you may be prompted to select a school for which you will be administering the first test session. So go to the drop-down, select your school. This prompt will only appear if your email is associated with multiple schools. So if you have worked in other schools in the district, just make sure you're selecting the correct school, because if you can't get in, that would probably be the issue. Okay, regardless of the school, you will be able to administer tests to the students from any of the multiple schools that you are associated with in the test session that you start. To see, after logging in, the test selection screen is immediately available. Click the arrow next to the Ohio State tests to see OST subjects. Click the arrow next to subject to see the available grades or tests for OST administration. Click the plus sign next to a grade or test to see the available tests and test parts. If you select the box next to a plus grade or subject, you will be selecting both test parts of the session. So we have some pictures over here, and the green is showing us Ohio State's tests. So we'll select English Language Arts, grade 3, and then you come over and you start your operational tests. All right, important. Confirm that you have selected Ohio State tests, not OGT or OELPS or Restart Readiness. Okay, these are all in the same portal. (2D). Clicking the box next to the plus grade or subject, you are selecting both test parts for the session. Click the green Start Operational Test Session button to start the session. The TA interface will then generate your session ID. I typically would project this onto my whiteboard or just write down the number. So it always starts with Ohio. It puts the dashes in for them. And this is your, unique operational test session code. Locate the session ID. It appears at the top of the TA interface, okay? And it says, note the location of the session ID box may vary depending on your device and width of your browser window. So it has two examples shown right here. The script. Okay. So first you have to introduce students to the test administration. So we're going to just quickly look over step 3. And it says follow the script in the right column to introduce the test administration to students. Use these directions for all students when starting a session. Use this script to orient students to the test administration. And then this is what you say, everything in bold. You have to say verbatim. The notes and things that you might need to look at are referenced down here, below test clock shown and the things that are not in bold. So, what you say to the students are today you are taking an Ohio State test for English language arts. You will take part 1 of the test today. You will have 90 minutes to take this part of the test. You will take part 1 of the test today. You will have 90 minutes to take part 1 of the test. Or if it's test 2, you can change the time. If you're giving a different test that's not the ELA test, you can go by the time that's indicated in the test administration manual. Then you can go ahead and say to the students that they have a clock on their computer screen. So the bold, you have to say, you will be able to track how much time you have been in the test by looking at the clock in the upper right corner of your screen. This clock only runs while you are in the test. You can click on the clock to hide the time and click on the clock again to show the time. So let's pretend like I forgot to say that to my students. That would be a violation that I could potentially, receive some kind of, I don't know, investigation for or something. So you have to read everything that the script indicates that you must read. And then you have to go on to say to the students, if you need a break during the test, raise your hand. And then you must go on and say to them, you may use blank scratch paper, or excuse me, you may use blank paper as scratch paper during the test. All right. So I think everyone gets the gist of this. I think the lengthiest part of it is right here where it starts with anything you write on this paper will not be scored. All the way through, if you are typing an answer and you want to make sure it is saved, you can click the save button. If you do not click the save button, the system will save your response when you move to your next question. So this through here tells them they can skip back and forth and, go back through items if they want to maybe look at their writing prompt and go backward and kind of work around, they may do that. However, they need to make sure that they save their test. And then at the end, they have to submit it. So you just have to go through the script and they will know what to do per the directions that you give them here in the beginning. And like I said, the rest of this is just reading these directions to the students. So then the students go to sign in and you say to them, you should see the test sign in screen. If you do not see the test sign in screen, raise your hand. You should see a box in the lower left that states this is the operational test site. If your box does not say this, raise your hand. Before you can start the test, you must type in 3 things. In the first name box, type your first name only. In the student ID box, type your SSID. Okay, so that's the the number with the 2 letters in it, not the local Marion number. In the session ID box, type the session ID exactly as it appears on the board. The session ID is, and then you need to provide that to them on the board. Once you have typed in your information, click Sign In. After you sign in, you will see a page that says, Is this you? Raise your hand if you do not see a page that says, Is this you? And that usually happens, maybe there's a computer problem or something like that, and there will be techs out in the buildings to help you. And in this document, it also gives you a link to troubleshooting sections. So after it asks them if it's them, they verify their own information on the screen, and then you continue to read through the script in 4D and 4E, and then you will be approving the tests as they come through, and the students, push themselves through this system. So as they're waiting for your approval, you will see that their screens will say waiting for approval. Just another reminder, do not take any pictures of the screen. If there's an error, just write it down and your BTC will send me an email, because that is, I guess, probably the biggest violation you can have when you are helping administer these tests, just because that is what the laws indicate. So we have to just follow the rules here. So thank you so much for attending this training today, and I hope everyone has a great weekend. Bye bye.